Hi, everybody. So at the end of every class period, I will do my best. I don't want to promise that it will be all the time, but I always want to do my best to take 5 minutes at the end or 10 minutes at the end and do a quick recap. At the end of every class session, ask if people need to stay on the call and meet with me for a few minutes. And if no one does so, I'll use that time to do a quick little recording of a recap in case people were absent. So this is a recap of day one in DVSP 081 academic literacy. I just want to recap what we covered at the beginning of class. I'll use my screen share function as well. So bear with me here. It takes me usually just a few minutes to get my screen shares up and running the way I want them. The first thing that we covered today was the syllabus. And so you can see that in an email that I sent out to the whole group. Highlights are the Zoom link that we will use to meet the class. There's or to meet each week, twice a week with the class. There's no required textbook, but I do always want you to have something to write with and something to write on every class period. I think that it's a good way to exercise our brains. We went over the course description and emphasized that we eventually will cover every single component of this lengthy paragraph. This was designed by the college or representatives of the college, not by me, but we will make sure that we address each of these items so that you feel like you've mastered these by the end of the course, as well as the objectives. All of these objectives we will be using regularly and practicing throughout the course. Instructional format, I emphasize that I always want to just make every effort I can to support students. I realize that that's always harder when you're at a distance learning, but reach out to me if you have any needs. My goal is for everyone to pass, and not only pass, but to have a really high grade when you're finished. My goal is for everyone to finish with like a 4.0 if possible. All major assignments due at 11:59 p.m., but we will work on everything that we do. We'll work on it in class. I don't believe in giving a lot of homework unless a student has been absent. We will work on everything here in class, and then maybe depending on your speed, you might need to do a little bit on your own at home afterwards or something like that. Being respectful of each other in the classroom, we covered that. Academic honesty, um, using whatever work you submit to the class needs to be your own. So having someone else do your work for you or copying and pasting stuff directly from somewhere else without giving credit, things like that. We want to be careful of in any college classroom. The grading scale, this is a standard scale you would see anywhere for any class generally. The number of credit hours, and then grades. I think grading and what we're going to do in here and what you're going to be graded on is probably the most important page on the entire document. My personal notes are that our grades are based on a 1,000 point scale by the end. We'll do a total of 1,000 points, and out of 1,000, that's easy to convert for most students. So if you finish at the end of the quarter with out of a total of 1,000, you finish with 895 points. That converts to an 89.5 as your actual final grade. And I will go ahead and round that 89.5 up to a 90, and that would be an A for the course. Even if it's an 89.1, I still will round it up just to give you the benefit of the doubt, especially when we're writing. There's always some room for subjectivity or a little bit of wiggle room there, and I'll always give the student the benefit of the doubt. But I think that makes it easy. If there's a total of 1,000 at the end and how many points out of 1,000 did you earn, makes it easy to calculate. And of course, it will be calculated on Brightspace for you also. Projects, assignments, and exams. No exams in here, no tests. The biggest part of this class is writing, reading and writing. So we have in-class activities worth 400 points where we are doing things live on the call, on the spot, and then responding. We also have formal writing assignments, also worth 400 points, where we will start in class. You might need to finish on your own, and then you'll have at least 2 weeks for anything that's considered a major formal writing assignment. A couple of the later ones, I'll give you 3 weeks. But see that these are weighted equally. So being in class and being a part of the class and participating in our informal regular activities is weighted. It's just as important as the work you're going to do outside of class. And so you need either one of these to pass, right? You need both. You wouldn't be able to miss class all the time and miss out on this 400 points and still pass, if that makes sense. And then also you wouldn't be able to like come to class, but not do any of the actual formal assignments and still pass. You need both of these in order to succeed. Journal writing, research topic notes, developing a bibliography, and other assignments at my discretion, 200 points. We'll be working on these on the side, and then we will collect those. I will collect those near week 8 for you. We will talk about that more as we move into the course. Special note on late work, I would love for you to always reach out to me. I will accept things late. I don't like to punish. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in punishing students. We all have so many different challenges that we're navigating in our day-to-day lives. Um, I would rather you reach out to me and let me know, hey, Miss Wilson, I missed the deadline for this assignment. Can I still turn it in? And my answer is going to be yes. I would rather you turn it in late than not turn it in at all. It is typically a 10-point late penalty on a 100-point assignment, so 10%. And that's just out of fairness to everyone else who had only like the 1 or 2 week allotment of time and they hurried up and turned it in by Sunday night and got it in on time versus if I give someone a little bit of extra time, just to be fair to everyone. But it's not intended to punish. So if you lose 10 points on something, but still get like 80 or 90 points, that's worth a lot. That's a B or an A still. So I would encourage any student, even if it's late, reach out to me and still send it in anyway. I reserve the right to make minor changes if needed to ensure a good course, but in general, I don't ever change the syllabus. Notice that this is only 3.5 pages long. It's pretty short and covers a general overview of the class. And that way, the biggest things that I might need to change from time to time are schedule changes. And what I do is I do 2-week module-based schedules. So here's the module, here's the unit, here's the assignment we're working on, and then here's some lessons that I've embedded into that assignment. And that's how we work the schedule basically. And that gives me a little bit of flexibility as we go along the course. Inevitably, if I have it all mapped out perfectly at the beginning, it never works out that way. So I like to just go 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Okay, we're done with this assignment and this module. Now it's time to move to the next. Our first one is a scholarship essay assignment, and then some lessons that are embedded into that one. And we'll spend the first 2 weeks on that. And you will be getting that schedule shortly. Other things we covered in the class, and I want to make sure that I pull those up on my screen share. At the beginning of class next time, wait a minute, I don't think I have it shared on the screen. At the beginning of class next time, we will start here. This is TED, Ideas Worth Spreading, TED Talks, or TED.com Talks. It's a common source that you'll see in a lot of college classrooms. This TED Talk is given by Michelle L. Sullivan, and it's called Asking for Help is a Strength, Not a Weakness. I will send that out as an email link and also post it on Brightspace. We will begin the next class on Wednesday with this video. So at the start of class, I will say, watch this video. I'll stream it. Sometimes people's streaming doesn't work so well if you're on Zoom at the same time that I'm streaming a video to you. So I'll still send you the link if you need to log out of Zoom in order to watch the video or whatever, we can make that work. But it's an 11-minute video. We will watch it and then we'll do a little bit of interactive class discussion and a little bit of writing afterwards. Okay, so be prepared for that. We also talked about in our class, if you needed to document this as a source, how would you do that? And so we emphasized you always start with giving credit to the person or by giving credit to the person. Her name is Michelle L. Sullivan. And I tell students to think about it like a telephone book. So in a telephone book, if you were going to look me up in a telephone book, you wouldn't start under the J's for Jenny. You would start under the W's for Wilson. And so we do the same thing when we document sources in a college essay. And even if you don't have a telephone book anymore, I would bet you have a grandma or a great aunt or somebody who has had a telephone book before. And so you'll notice how those are laid out. It's the same thing here. So we would start with Sullivan, Michelle, if we were going to document this source. The next thing we need to give credit to is what's the title of it? Because she could have a lot of things out there. She might have written books. She might have articles. She might have other speeches, things like that. So we need to capture what is the title. The next thing we need to look at is what is the source? In this case, it's a website. So what's the website? The name of the website is TED. Maybe you find it on a website that's like YouTube or something like that. We need to look and see if there's a publisher or a date. In this case, TED is the website. It's also the publisher. They publish their own stuff. The date down here, we see October of 2016. Sometimes you'll see an exact date, sometimes you won't, but give a date if there is one. And then the last thing we're going to do is capture the URL, which is the link. And I will include a link to this in the email for our upcoming Wednesday class as a reminder that this is where we're going to start the class on Wednesday. So that in a nutshell, you're not required, you're not tested on this yet. Eventually, when we start doing formal writing assignments that require some research, I'm going to practice at least 1 or 2 of these every class period so that you have a good idea of how to document any source that you look at. I also want to pull up, this happened last night, Lily Gladstone won a Golden Globe for her role in Killers of the Flower Moon. And I actually haven't seen that movie. My kids are all little, so I don't get to go and watch adult movies very often. But she opened her acceptance speech in Blackfeet, uh, which is my husband's native language. It was really a moving moment for us. If you didn't see this, I would encourage you to check out her speech. She acknowledges a lot of people who've impacted her life and just what a historic milestone this is. But if I was going to use this, let's say, for some type of essay, and I was going to quote something from her speech, how would I document that? Well, first and foremost, give credit to the author, the person. So I would give credit to her first and foremost. Gladstone, comma, Lily. Then I would put the title. So here's the title down here. It's kind of a long title, but you could copy and paste that for your instructor. Next, I would document the website or the source. So the source is YouTube. That's where I found it, was on YouTube. Didn't find it in a book or in a magazine. I found it on YouTube. In this case, further down, it says it was 14 hours ago. As it gets further out, they would have the exact date published, but I know that 14 hours ago was January 7th of 2024. CBS is the publisher here, so it's on YouTube, but the actual people who captured this film, the film crew who captured this and then posted it, was a CBS film crew published by CBS. So you'd want to give credit to CBS as the publisher. Next, then document the date. So January 7th of 2024. Don't worry about formatting yet, but I'm just making you aware of what pieces of information you need to always look for and identify when you find a source that you want to use for an essay. Potentially, if you want to quote something, like make sure you capture, write down, take notes on these pieces of information. And then the last thing would be the URL. Copy and paste, keep track of the link for how your professor can get there, okay? So I'm hoping this was helpful. One other video we did look at, I'll make sure that I'll just stay in my same screen share here. I don't know if I still have it pulled up, but what is an academic source? Don't just choose the first one that you see. The one that we looked at is this one, How to Identify Academic Sources by Dan Reed. It's really awesome. I'll include the link. I think that's just going to show a commercial now, but this is the one that I've used with a lot of classes, and it's a 3-minute video, so it's not going to take you a lot of time. We will, I'll post this to our course. We're going to come back to this several times, but when you're looking at different sources to pull from and quoting information and things like that, how do you evaluate a source in the event that your professor says, I need something that's only academic? And then you may not be required to do that in many cases, but just in case you are, this video does a really good job of breaking it down. Thanks for listening. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. When we come back to class on Wednesday, we're going to start out with the Asking for Help is a Strength, Not a Weakness TED Talk by Michelle L. Sullivan. And then we're also going to continue looking at a couple of other scholarship prompts in the event that you are interested in applying for a scholarship. Have a great day, everyone, and a great week, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.